What's up guys, it's day 87 of my 100-day challenge to get to 10k MRR, and at this point it's pretty much certain that I'm not going to actually get to the 10k MRR, but I've been focusing on making my product, VibeScan, a successful long-term business, and I am at $600 MRR right now. It's pretty much remained around that number for the last few weeks, and I've spent that time focusing on building the next iteration of it, VibeScan 2.0. Now, over the last couple of days, I can finally see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm making some significant progress. But today, I once again ran into an issue that took me most of the day to figure out. And it was an issue of technical debt. This is something that a lot of people don't really think about very much because it never comes up when you're building a toy demo. But there's a very interesting relationship between the use of AI in coding and the creation of technical debt. Because when you're using AI to code, you're moving very quickly and you're able to build out features in days instead of weeks, and you just keep rolling forward. This actually allows you to experiment a lot with different approaches, and you're not always sure which approach is going to stick and what's going to really become the core of your application. That's why it's really important to try to pay attention to the code that gets written and actually review it yourself, because it can be really easy to just let it slip and then you have to go and pick things back up. But even if you are paying attention, there's still a way that technical debt can build up pretty quickly with the use of AI. And that's simply because it makes you go so much faster that you just get through those cycles more quickly. Anyone building software for a long period of time is going to run into technical debt where you design something one way, expecting the product to evolve in a particular direction, and then things changed. So in my example, I was building the launch checklist, and today I wanted to add a feature to make it customizable where the user themselves could enter new questions or launch checklist items so that when we scan their code, we can explore those areas as well. And as AI was writing the code for this, it kept modifying all these extra tables, trying to handle these new user submitted questions as some kind of custom checklist. And I was like, why is this happening? And then I realized that it was because of all the technical debt that I had accumulated in my project. Because originally, when I built the feature out, it was a preset list that I was tracking in a database, and I was looking things up by a specific ID, so it was never really designed for somebody to enter their own items. Then eventually I added a step that would figure out a launch checklist for you using AI, but now as I was iterating on it further, it just took it one step too far, and it was just having to write like hundreds of lines of code for something that should be really easy. So I took a step back and I basically cleaned out my code base of the old approach to my launch checklist, and it was, dozens of files. So it's pretty crazy to clean that stuff up, but it is important to do that so that you can actually keep developing more quickly. So it's definitely a time investment, but I think it's worth it in the long term. So today, yeah, doing some refactoring, doing some code cleanup, and paying off that technical debt. But I feel much better about how the code base is organized now, and I feel like I'm going to be able to build things on top of this base much more quickly. So anyway, I'm going to keep testing to make sure that all of this refactoring settles well, and then keep building these features. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.